The movie kicks off with a daring robbery at the CIA secure black vault in the heart of Brussels, Belgium. Automatic gunfire starts blasting, and a guard drops dead right against the vault gate. The masked gunman quickly takes the guard's passcard and unlocks the gate like it's a jewelry store. Using his key, he opens the vault box he's targeting and grabs a canister, carefully placing it inside his tote bag. As he makes his way out, the aftermath of his ruthlessness becomes evident, leaving a trail of dead bodies in his wake. After slipping through the secret back service exit, he lobs the tote bag to a motorcycle before another one arrives and picks him up. The tote bag is finally dropped off in a secure spot beneath a highway overpass near a Mercedes. When the bag is retrieved and handed to a man in the back seat, signs of an inside job begin to emerge. An agent named Anna Brandt, who works at the CIA headquarters, contacts the man with the canister, but is frustrated as he doesn't answer her call. Back in Belgium, and this time in Antwerp, we get to know Ben Logan, apparently an engineer, yet his back bears the weight of scars that hint at an untold story. As he gets ready for work, his ID card reveals his connection to Hellgate, a security system company. Just then, Ben's daughter Amy arrives, ready for school. It's clear that their relationship is far from smooth, with Ben acting like a controlling father. Amy has kept her grades a secret from him, but Ben finds out and blames her for her poor grades. Amy voices her dislike for her father snooping around her things, mentioning that her mother never did such things. It becomes apparent that Amy has been living apart from her father for quite some time. While leaving, Amy reminds her father not to be late for her award ceremony later that evening. When Ben gets to work, he shows a positive work relationship with Walter the gatekeeper. Later on, we figure out that Ben and his colleagues are tasked with reviewing the company's security lock products for any potential flaws. But suddenly something strange catches his attention. His co-worker Mei Ling comes to realize that the company doesn't own the patents for the products they're looking into. She writes down the patent number on her palm, but before they can dig deeper into the matter, their boss Derek Kohler calls them in for a presentation. Interestingly enough, Derek happens to be the guy with the canister that we met earlier. Ben breaks into a smart lock using a mix of sulfur and regular household bleach. Moving on to a super advanced biometric iris scanner, Ben once again manages to hack into it using a video montage of 50 specific irises in a specific pattern. Derek is thoroughly impressed, sporting a sly smirk on his face, and he eagerly asks for a copy of the video. Later, as Ben expresses his concerns regarding products that the company lacks patent ownership for, Derek instructs him with 3 sentences in a row.
Keep on it, keep me informed. Keep it between us.
Ben stays all day and gets the full presentation report ready. The task drains him to the point where all he can think about is going home. Even one of his co-workers, Floyd, tells him he should go home. Sounds nice, but let's not be too quick to judge. But I may judge you a little if I find out you watched my video, had a good time, but didn't hit that like button yet. Seriously, it's such a simple way to show support, and it means a lot to me. Plus it's a great workout for your thumb, so why not give it a shot? Out of nowhere, it hits Ben that he totally forgot about his daughter's ceremony. He rushes out of the office and goes straight to her school. Ben ends up arriving late to the award ceremony, only to find out Amy's won the first prize for her photo essay called Homeland. Ben finds his daughter at a diner while playing foosball and having a good time with this guy named Nabil, who also appeared in Amy's photo essay. Ben asks Amy about the guy on the way home, and she casually replies that he's just a friend. The great bond between father and daughter is evident once again as they engage in their usual bickering. Feeling hungry, Amy asks her father if there's something to eat. Ben hands her a box of cookies, but they have peanuts which she's allergic to. Sensing her discomfort, Ben immediately rushes her to the hospital. It's 8 in the morning and Amy's discharged from the emergency room. Ben tells her that he needs to grab a delivery from work. During the process, Amy makes snarky comments about her father abandoning her and her mom. When they arrive at the office, Ben's totally shocked by what he sees. The whole Hellgate complex is completely cleaned out, no furniture, no equipment. Ben tries calling the office phone number, but all he gets is a message saying the number doesn't exist. To make matters worse, his cell phone suddenly goes dead. Ben goes to a payphone and calls the Hellgate head office in Brussels, trying to reach Derek's office. To his surprise, the operator tells him there's no Derek working at Hellgate. Worried about Amy's safety, he makes the decision to take her along to Brussels in order to find out what's going on. At the Hellgate headquarters, a high-ranking Hellgate official denies the existence of Derek Kohler and also Ben himself. He even tells him there's no subsidiary in Antwerp at all. Ben asks for a cell battery so he can show him his 8 weeks of business correspondence with the company, but to his surprise his inbox is completely empty. Oh, here's an ad coming up.
Your BlackBerry is empty.
According to their background check on Ben, he moved to Antwerp 8 weeks ago, but the last registered address for him was in New York 14 years ago. Ben feels like a huge chunk of his life has vanished into thin air. This feeling is reinforced when he discovers that his bank account's been inactive since he opened it. As Ben tries to process all of this, his coworker Floyd shows up, looking stunned by what's going on. But then he reveals his true colors by pulling a gun on Ben. He tries to get Ben and his daughter out of the city with Ben in the driver's seat and Amy held hostage. Ben wants answers about the situation, but all he gets is a pistol whip in the face. Amy stands up for her dad, but he tells her not to worry and advises her to buckle up. Floyd gets all frustrated, telling Ben he should have just listened to him and gone home. He points his gun at Amy, trying to force Ben to take an exit. But instead, Ben forcefully accelerates and then he hits the brakes out of nowhere, sending Floyd flying forward and slamming into the windshield. Ben starts wrestling with Floyd for the gun. Shots are accidentally fired and the car ends up flipping over and rolling down a hill onto a lower road on the highway. Despite being injured, Amy somehow drags herself out of the car. Floyd comes out and starts shooting at her all unsteady, but then Ben jumps in and starts wrestling him on the ground. He puts Floyd in a headlock and starts grilling him about who he's working for, but Floyd's neck suddenly snaps and he dies on the spot. As Ben searches through Floyd's pockets, he finds some cash and a key. In a total freakout, Amy spots the Belgian cops heading their way and they manage to flee before it's too late. Ben breaks into a house on a quiet street. Inside, he patches up his injured hand and wipes the blood off Amy's face. Amy suggests calling the cops or reaching out to the US State Department, where Ben supposedly used to work. Ben tries to calm her down, telling her that with no evidence of his existence, no one can help them. Suddenly, his eyes lock onto the key he took from Floyd with the letters AC etched onto it, which stand for Antwerp Central. They take a train to Antwerp Central Station. As they sit in a cafe, TV news reveals that the police are on the hunt for them. Ben leaves Amy alone in the cafe and heads off to the lockers. When Amy sees the police officers going after Ben, she panics and rushes to find him. Meanwhile, Ben's busy checking Floyd's locker. As Amy frantically searches for him, she comes eye to eye with the police. But, thanks to Ben, they manage to slip away unnoticed in the middle of the commotion. Ben opens the file he found in Floyd's locker. He finds a bunch of photos and details about Mei Ling and the rest of his colleagues. There's even a photo of Amy and her grandpa. Unlike Amy, Ben keeps his cool like an ice cube. He grabs a map and marks the addresses of his coworkers. With his daughter's help, he finds the nearest hospital to them. He quickly gets there and bribes the morgue shift manager. Sneaking inside, Ben comes face to face with his dead coworkers who are labeled as illegal immigrants. As he writes down the patent number that's written on Mei Ling's palm, Ben realizes Walter's not among the corpses. While leaving, they're shocked to find him searching for them. He immediately starts chasing them and firing shots in their direction. He misses and hits the hospital staff while Ben skillfully dodges every bullet. They eventually reach the inpatient ward, where Amy hides herself in a closet. Tension fills the air as Walter slowly opens the closet. Just as he prepares to shoot, Ben intervenes and a struggle over the gun ensues, but Walter eventually gets control of it once again. This time, Amy's the one who jumps in and saves her dad. Ben takes advantage of Walter's distraction and relentlessly shoots him to death, but this comes with a price. His daughter ends up with a flesh wound from Walter. After leaving the hospital, Ben tries to tend to Amy's wound. Ben's got some mind-blowing news to share. That his supposed job at the State Department was just a front. He was actually a highly skilled CIA operative. Floyd and Walter were trained government assassins, and the file that he found in the locker turned out to be a hit list. The truth hits Amy like a ton of bricks, making her realize that she doesn't know her father at all. Back in America, the CIA has received reports about the murder of two ex-operatives, Walter and Floyd. Anna's informed that there are suspicions surrounding Ben, who used to work under her. They believe Ben may be linked to the robbery too given his security expertise. The main concern for Anna's bosses is the stolen canister. 6 months ago a ship owned by Halgate sank, and the canister contained evidence that showed Halgate was secretly supplying weapons to different countries for their benefit. The families of the ship's crew accepted compensation, except for one family who filed a case against Halgate. If the investigation proceeds and that canister's missing, all fingers will be pointed at the CIA for destabilizing countries. Since Anna and Ben used to be together, they want her to find him. Anna says she hasn't talked to Ben since he was decommissioned 6 months ago, but she still agrees to find him. While on the phone with Derek, it comes out that Anna was actually the mastermind behind the robbery, but she's unaware of the murders. Derek reveals that a person named Bramer is responsible for the killings. He then uses the hacks Ben found to unlock the security locks on the canister. Once it's open, he tells Anna that he's taking control now because he doesn't want to end up dead. While chatting at a cafe, Ben tells Amy he left the CIA to be there for her after her mom's passing. This makes them bond closer, and when Ben's concerned about their lodging problem, Amy comes up with a solution. She calls her friend Nabil, who gets his brother Karim to hook them up with a place in Brussels for €2,000. During the process, Ben notices that something might be going on between Amy and Nabil. He surprises Nabil by warning him in Arabic. Considering their tough situation, Karim later gives back the money, and they eventually settle in an overcrowded residential area among the refugees. The day after, the family that put together a case against Halgate meets with their representative Bramer. He hopes they accept compensation, but they want a personal apology from Mr. Halgate. Meanwhile, Anna calls Bramer from Brussels and they arrange a meeting. When they meet, Anna blames the latter for killing innocent people. On top of that, she warns that no amount of protection will save him from Ben's revenge, as he was a highly skilled ex-CIA Black Ops agent. Bramer explains that he had no choice because Ben was digging up the truth about their fake company. They eventually part ways, with Anna taking on the responsibility of finding Kohler and Bramer in charge of taking care of Ben. In the next scene, the expert that Bramer brought in to track down Ben pays a visit to Karim's house, leading to Nabil discovering his brother's lifeless body later on. It's clear that the expert knows where to find Ben now. Meanwhile, Ben and Amy learn the iris scanner patent belongs to a company in New York. Ben tries to call the listed phone number for the patent, but he realizes it's the CIA's number. Amy, on the other hand, has been researching online and discovered that Ben's workplace was short-leased by an investment company called Marcus Wolf. They decide to visit another branch of this company in Brussels which closed recently. According to Ben, Marcus was a former German spy who died 5 years ago. However, the realtor reveals that Marcus was actually the last occupant. Using his skills, Ben quickly borrows a phone from downstairs and connects it to a loose wire on the ground, finding out the last number dialed was a hotel. He calls the hotel and is surprised to find out that Marcus is there. The local CIA team soon finds out about the call and shares it with Anna. Ben and Amy go to the hotel, with Ben heading straight to Marcus's room and Amy waiting downstairs. It turns out that Marcus Wolf is actually Derek Kohler. Ben ambushes Derek in his room and violently interrogates him, but Derek refuses to give a clear answer. Amy notices suspicious individuals in the lobby and joins them on the elevator. During the ride, she manages to separate from them and triggers the fire alarm to buy some time to escape. In Derek's room, Amy is shocked to witness Ben torturing him. Among his mumbled words, Ben starts piecing together that Derek's also a CIA agent and that Ben was actually being used by them to retrieve the documents inside the canister. However, before Ben can fully grasp the truth, Derek takes his own life. Anna and her men pursue Ben and Amy as they run towards the parking lot with the tote bag. Amy triggers car alarms to distract them, giving Ben the chance to catch Anna off guard. Anna begs Ben to let her help, and she promises their safety if he gives her the canister. Instead, Ben's only question is why she left him in Belgium. Anna explains that the CIA wanted him dead for disobeying orders, and she was the one who convinced them to just expel him from the States. Despite this, he doesn't give up the canister and chooses to leave with his daughter. Amy never expected that her dad's job in the CIA involved killing people, and learning this from Ben drains her of trust. She decides to part ways and heads home on the subway. Tearfully, she reaches out to her grandpa and tells him she wants to return home, only to be confronted by Mr. Expert. When Ben arrives home, he finds the hostess dead and Amy missing. In his confusion, he comes face to face with Nabil, who is consumed by anger and seeks revenge for his brother. Given their common enemy, Nabil decides to bring Ben to his buddy's bachelor pad to strategize. While inspecting the ship's manifest inside the canister, Ben finds out that James Halgate was illegally transporting US-made weapons to Mozambique. To Ben's astonishment, Anna is on Halgate's payroll too. With this newfound information, Ben arranges a meeting with Anna at a train station. He devises a clever plan, moving her between trains to separate her from her men. After reminiscing about their past in Somalia, Ben warns Anna to tell Mr. Halgate that he'll be dead if Amy's harmed. He then leaves without another word. In their safe hideout, Nabil hands a briefcase to Ben while he's in the kitchen preparing some kind of liquid solution. There are indications that Ben is gathering materials for explosives. They watch Mr. Halgate's court appearance on a laptop while working. At the courthouse, Mr. Halgate expresses his apologies to Mrs. Peters, the mother who is held out against the settlement. She receives the apology she desired and acknowledges to the judge that she accepts the settlement. Mr. Halgate walks down the courthouse surrounded by reporters, acting like he has no regrets. Then Ben shows up and slips a cell phone into his hand, which he passes to Bramer. On the phone, Ben tells him he's got the evidence and they're not gonna get that unless Amy's free. Anna pushes past Bramer to warn Mr. Halgate about Ben. She insists on taking charge of the exchange because she knows Ben. Mr. Halgate sees himself in Anna and he agrees to let Anna handle the exchange. The text from Ben arrives, specifying the time and place for the exchange, 3 o'clock at the Palace of Justice. Seems like the ideal place for Ben to enforce his own version of justice. As Anna and Amy head towards the car, Anna's true intention becomes clear. Driven by her history with Ben, she tries to rescue Amy by eliminating the henchman. However, Halgate has been one step ahead and saw it coming. Mr. Expert cunningly surprises her, swiftly delivering fatal stabs to her lower chest which ultimately result in her death. Consequently, recapturing Amy becomes a piece of cake for him. In a car parked near the meeting spot, Ben carefully sets up the explosives and the detonator mechanism inside the briefcase. The bomb is rigged to explode when the briefcase is opened for the second time. Halgate and Bramer show up at the meeting place. Despite the henchmen watching, Ben sneaks up on Mr. Halgate like a ghost, and sticks a gun against his side. Ben has figured out Halgate's whole plan by now. The company was selling weapons to the Mozambican tribal factions in exchange for access to their lithium mines. When Halgate learned about the evidence the CIA collected, he formed a shell company to retrieve it from the Black Vault. Halgate remains completely unfazed by the fact that Ben is onto him. He shows Ben his daughter, making it clear Ben doesn't really have the upper hand. Then Bramer tells Ben that Amy's not gonna be freed unless Ben surrenders himself. Ben hesitates for a moment, but finally surrenders his gun and starts running towards his daughter. After slipping her some cash, he tells her to get as far away as possible. Although Amy begs him not to leave her alone, Ben explains he has no other option, and that's how he makes a difference. Just then, Nabil arrives on a motorcycle, hands over the briefcase and takes Amy with him. Halgate personally checks inside to make sure all the evidence is there. This was the first time. As Halgate gets into the car, he tells Bramer to find someone to take out Amy and her grandpa. However, they won't be departing until Ben hands over a piece of evidence that he purposefully forgot. Mr. Expert grabs it and takes it to his boss. Halgate opens the briefcase to put the paper inside and hears the second time. Nabil has brought Amy to the airport for her flight back to America. As they say their goodbyes, Amy becomes teary-eyed and plants a really emotional kiss on Nabil's lips. She feels a wave of sadness wash over her as she sits alone, until she hears a voice on the loudspeaker calling Marcus Wolf to come to the counter. Amy's face lights up as she instantly recognizes the name. When she sees her father running toward her, Amy rushes into his waiting arms, letting all her tears of sadness transform into tears of pure joy, and that's when the end credits roll in. I hope you found the recap interesting. Let me know what you think of the film. Thanks for watching and see you soon.